Bray Wyatt released from WWE July 31st, 2021. It's your buddy Mike Messier. It's your friend, your pal Mike Messier. And by popular demand, people were saying, Mike, what do you think? Bray Wyatt's gone. Well, I don't want to say I told you so because I certainly didn't. But we have known that Bray Wyatt has kind of had this interesting part-time, kind of like a part-time gig for a while with WWE. Maybe that's just the benefit of his character, the Fiend, and the different incarnations, the Firefly Funhouse host, and the original kind of backwoods Bray Wyatt. Leave a comment. What was your favorite Bray Wyatt incarnation? I'm wearing this mock shirt right now. It's actually not a shirt that I particularly like. I guess it's a Halloween themed Moxley shirt, but this should give you an indication of what's going to happen with Bray Wyatt. A friend, a subscriber to subscribe to Mike Messier YouTube channel suggested maybe Bray wasn't released by WWE. Bray asked for his own release due to mental health issues. So my friend was having a joke. That's not true. He was making a social commentary about everything in the world today, all these situations. But interestingly enough, the Bray Wyatt character and the different incarnations had kind of a mental issue. You know, each thing. The original Bray Wyatt, the backwoods kind of guy, all the way to the Firefly Funhouse. I mean, we had a lot of good memories with Bray, but I think we're getting the point here, folks. Don't take any of, if you're a WWE fan especially, don't take any of your favorite WWE wrestlers for granted because you don't know if they're going to be there forever, right? And apparently we just found out the hard way, or what Bray Wyatt did, that he's gone. There was last couple of days, there was hints and allegations that Braun Strowman might be coming back to WWE, that they might have Braun back into the mix. But now with Braun and Bray both gone, actually Eric Rowan is still with us. He made a brief appearance on AEW in that wonderful Brody Lee tribute show. Could there be a reimagining? They obviously couldn't use the Wyatt family, but the three guys who are left with us, Eric Rowan, Braun Strowman, and Wyndham Rotundo is his real name. They'd all have to have different names, but they could definitely do something, the three of them together in AEW. So McMahon, or Junior as I like to call him, might have just inadvertently handed over an NWO type of group. Obviously Eric Rowan is not much of a speaker as far as I know. He did have that giant rat in a box or whatever it was for a while. Braun Strowman as the muscle, pretty good worker as far as a big guy goes. Braun Strowman, look, is Braun Strowman Ricky Steamboat or Tiger Mask? Obviously not, but he's a big guy that I say Braun Strowman can get over in AEW. Maybe others disagree. But if Braun Strowman hasn't linked back in, hey, Javier, my good buddy Javier, a great writer. Javier, put your link in for your Pro Wrestling Stories website. What's up, buddy? Javier and I actually had a really interesting off-air podcast, a house show podcast, meaning a private Zoom call about a year ago. We should do that again, Javier, or actually have you on the show, buddy. I'd love to talk wrestling with you here. I'm trying out this new streaming app, Javier, and it seems to be working. I'm able to go right to YouTube. Javier's watching on Facebook, so people keep an eye out. If I've got 2,500 open friend slots on Facebook, and here we go. You know the deal. The Fiend got dropped because Peacock doesn't want to push edgy characters on their platform. Nothing to do with budget cuts. You know the deal on YouTube. Thanks for checking in. You know the deal. Stick around because I'll address your thought. I'm going to take that. Thank you, Javier. Sound is great. I got this new thing. I got it for $25 on Amazon. You know the deal. Fiend, I kind of like what you're thinking here. That is Peacock having an influence on WWE and their decision making with talent? Are there characters? Hey, look, guess what? Who would be next? Alexa Bliss. If your theory is correct, and I'm not, saying your theory is correct, you know the deal, but it might be. If Peacock is kind of putting the hammer down, like, hey, they want a very safe product, they don't want edgy characters. The Fiend is creepy. What do you think of Alexa Bliss? Because she's kind of doing a lot of the same stuff that Bray Wyatt did with just a sexier face. You know what I mean? Like, Alexa really does this character well. And she's a sexy woman. To me, she's just as sexy as Margot Robbie, kind of her Hollywood counterpart. Things are good, Kevin. Kevin Vidinha, one of the producers behind the scenes at Messier Mantra, did the wonderful Messier mantra. Mike interviews himself. That's still getting credit. Kevin Vidinha, one of the guys behind the award-winning Messier mantra, recently won Havelock International Film Festival Web Series Award. Thanks, Kevin. But here's the deal, man. Bray Wyatt's gone from WWE. What does this mean to you and me? It means that, once again, if this talent, Bray Wyatt, goes over to AEW or anywhere, that's going to be a big gain. And like I was theorizing earlier, can you imagine if Braun Strowman's still open, Bray Wyatt and Eric Rowan together, is that equal to the NWO of 96, Hogan, Hall, and Nash? I wouldn't say it's quite equal, but you can make a metaphor or analogy. And then you take Daniel Bryan and CM Punk on to AEW, which I was saying is kind of like Hogan and Savage going over to WCW 94. Game on, folks. So we wonder what's going on with WWE. They were, there was these rumors months ago about selling when they had all these people getting released at the same time. Khan selling, Simone Ingention. You're a Facebook buddy of mine. I'm sorry, I'm slaughtering your name. Even Fox wanted Bray on SmackDown because how good he is, what he does. What he does, WWE expect that anyone who isn't as Brock should be fired. So, good question, Simone. And please correct me if I'm saying your name wrong because we're Facebook buddies. But is the WWE just saying that unless you're Brock Lesnar or The Rock or someone like that, that you're not a part of this show? What's going on here? Javier chiming in. Don't care what McMahon claims. AEW is competition for WWE. Vince McMahon, or Junior as I like to call him, recently did an interview, one of these talk to the media deals, and he was saying that AEW is no competition. Well, apparently they are competition because AEW kicked NXT's ass for a year on Wednesday nights. And in my book, Last Man Standing, AEW won the Wednesday night war against NXT. Now, the counter to that, people will say, was that NXT is this third show behind SmackDown and Raw. However, for about 5 years, all I ever heard from NXT fans was, well, I watch NXT. I don't watch the main roster. I only watch NXT with my pipe and my sweater. Well, apparently they got their asses kicked. Ian checks in. What's up, fellow Warrior Mike? I'm doing good, buddy. I'm just eating leftover pizza from last night. I paid $25 for this gourmet pizza, so I'm milking it for 2 days. I'm getting my exercise on. I just walked out in the heat. I might go see that movie tonight, Stillwater, with Matt Damon. But this situation was such a big deal. Bray Wyatt being released from WWE, I could not comment. I had to say something. And I'm testing out this new streaming app, and I think people like it. Ian's saying WWE is trash. AEW has a real chance to take over the wrestling business. This is what I've been trying to say, everybody. From February of 2021 to June of 2021 or July, I was going to pretty much every AEW show with the exception of 2 or 3. So every Wednesday, and I went to All Out, and I went to the All Out convention. The live show experience of AEW is superior to what you're experiencing on television. My theory is that it might be the director of the show. I believe, I could be wrong, but I could be wrong. It might be a director left over from the Nitro era. I don't know if he's the best director. I was making a point that Sting missed a scorpion splash on Scorpio Sky last week on the outside. And to me, it seemed like the director should have caught that. I think that was Fyter Fest week 2 or week 1. Point is, there could be some behind the scenes stuff. The commentary team, as much as I love JR, Jim Ross especially, as a commentator, although he did treat me poorly once at Mohegan Sun, that's another story. But I don't know if sometimes I feel like Jim Ross and Tony Schiavone are kind of laughing at the product. Like they're commentating on the show, Jim more so than Tony, but I kind of feel like they're a little bit bemused by it. Like, this is ridiculous. What are we doing here? Craig Leathers, you might be right, Michael Roche. Michael AJ, checking in. Thanks, buddy. They definitely have some kinks to work out. Note about that. What's up, Michael AJ Norris? Checking in. Michael's always making great comments and suggestions. I appreciate that, buddy. And so here we go. It might be Craig Leathers because I've heard that name. That's a name that Bischoff talks about. it seems like there's a lot of times when you watch the AEW product on TV, it feels very nitro-y, and that's good and bad. And I feel like whoever is the director may not be the very best director. Sometimes, in my opinion, experience does not equate to talent. You could be doing something for a long time, but if you're lousy at doing it, you're still going to be lousy. You know what I mean? Or maybe just average. Ian agrees about the commentary. They need to be more legit and serious. They need to sell everything about the product. Exactly, Ian. And to further this point that we're both making here, I'm not a big Excalibur guy as far as commentary, but at least he kind of believes in this crap. Like, these are his guys. You know what I mean? Like the Young Bucks and Omega. These are Excalibur's guys. These are the people that he's done stuff with on the indie route. And so he has a vested interest as a friend, as a colleague of these guys, to get them over as much as possible, to get himself over. No offense to Jim Ross, but he peaked in like 1986 Mid-South or 1992 WCW or 1998 WWF. You know, Stone Cold, Stone Cold. This is not his deal. This is not, I mean, I like the fact that they're hiring Jim Ross and Shivani, but I just feel like they're not as emotionally as engaged. Ian Rico Bacciani would be a good get. Like that kid. He's a good announcer, in my opinion. I'm not sure if I know Ian Rico Bonney. However, was this the same guy that was in MLW? Rich Bahini? Is that who you're thinking of? Michael Roach? Rich Bahini, I actually went to college with. He worked for MLW. Rich is a good guy. Believe it or not, he was always more into hockey than he was into pro wrestling. We went to a Boston Bruins game together. So that MLW commentator I went to college with, if you know who I'm talking about, he used to work for NXT behind the scenes, or a commentator for NXT, did MLW, ROH. Okay, I'm not a big ROH guy. I was reminiscing, Michael, that I went to some show in ROH September of 2002, all the way back when, and they had the guy Xavier, who recently passed away less than a year ago, defeat Loki for the ROH title, which I think was the second title reign of ROH. I didn't bring up Joey Styles. That would be a great acquisition. You're talking about Ian's mentioning Joey Styles for the commentary of AEW. That would be pretty damn good. But you know what? Once again, is Joey Styles from 1996 or 1998 who you would have in 2021? We don't know. Has he mellowed? We don't know. Matt Stryker is pretty good too. Rich and MLW. Here's the thing, guys. Joe Cronin, my buddy, is always positioning for one of these jobs. I could do one of these commentary jobs. Probably a lot of you guys could too. I don't think there's anything wrong with bringing some new voices in. The strategy of AEW, it seems to me, is to bring in the audio first. You're familiar with Tony. You're familiar with Jim. You're familiar with The Big Show. You're familiar with Taz. You're familiar with Mark Henry. You bring in these familiar audio voices, the voices of our childhood, and then you layer on top of that some of the faces of our teens or our 20s or our 30s. That's when we're getting the Moxleys, the Jerichos, the CM Punks, the Daniel Bryans. Here's the other thing, guys, that people forget, and I'm just here to remind you, it's just simple stuff. It's a rich kid's toy. AEW is a rich kid's fed, man. You know what I mean? Like, they're not in a position of other promotions, other startup promotions. I mean, Tommy Dreamer, House of Hardcore. Can you imagine what he could have done if he had the money of a Tony Khan behind him? If you have a lot of money, it's easier to make a lot more money. You know what I mean? And I'm not trying to insult Tony Khan. I love AEW. I go all the time, but I'm saying when you have millions and millions and billions of dollars from the automobile industry, basically every time you or I or anybody buys a vehicle, cha-ching to the Khan family. The way that I understand it, his father invented some type of device that hooks like the bumper of your car to your car. So every time a car is bought anywhere, the Khans are making money. I could be wrong, but that's the way I've heard the story of how they made their fortune. So those guys have got liquid money. I mean, this AEW, I've been saying for a while, it could be just a way for Tony Khan to be a cool kid for once in his life. He gets to hang out with the jocks. He gets to tell them what to do. Maybe he's getting laid with those cheerleaders or some of these women. Let's see. Michael AJ, I tried watching Ring of Honor, could not follow it. Ian's checking in about Matt Stryker, good commentator. Stryker is a good commentator. Mikey, John Cena promo are stale. I think Roman said it right, got in trouble. Let's take on this point. So basically, Roman Reigns had a really kind of good work shoot promo where he was talking about John Cena's promo skills, and he was right, but they edited it for television, or something, and I guess they yelled at Roman afterwards, like, "Hey, ribbing on the square," as they used to say. Now, back in the '90s, if this was Nitro and Scott Steiner was ripping on Ric Flair, nobody would have a problem. It'd be fun. But these days, it's so much invested. How many, Ian Patrick Gagnon, well, how many times have previous wrestlers transitioned to commentary throughout history and have been great? There's always that route too. Good question. Who would you suggest? You guys have any suggestions for current wrestlers that would make great commentators? Here's a suggestion: CM Punk. I feel like CM Punk may have 5 or 6 good matches in him. He might have 2 or 3 good years in him. I don't know. We'll find out. But I think that CM Punk's verbal skills and his association with the audience could very well get him a nice spot as a commentary or as a leader of a faction, a manager role, a player coach role. I mean, imagine CM Punk taking over the Dark Order. I'm imagining Bray Wyatt taking over the Dark Order already, folks. I'm thinking Bray Wyatt comes in. He's got the connection with Brody. He gets inside the head of all the guys in the Dark Order, and he corrupts them and turns them heel and focuses them. And they have some type of storyline with the kid. I mean, if I was writing the shows, I'd have the script written in an hour, guys, of Bray Wyatt coming in. He uses the Wyndham Rotundo name or some other name, and he basically corrupts the Dark Order. Take Bray Wyatt out of the headline main event show. Let the Daniel Bryan and Omega do their 1 hour draw, whatever they're going to do. Let CM Punk do main event stuff. Put Bray at the bottom of this stuff of AEW, if he's coming to AEW. With all these WWE cuts, how are new talents wanting to join this company under Vince McMahon? I think Hunter, better and smart. Samoa Joe, good example. Michael AJ Norris with a wonderful thing. I think I could actually put these comments on the feed here, guys. So if you don't mind, you'll be seeing your names and your comments. If anyone has privacy issues, I'm sorry. I already put your comment up there, buddy. And let's see if I can get some other people's comments. I really like that comment here from Michael AJ Norris. I'm going to go back to Michael Roach's comment. This is a pretty cool app, guys. I'm using this new app, StreamYard. It's day number 1. I did a 2-hour podcast earlier with a book author. We talked about suicide. We talked about traumatic stuff. Her mother committed suicide, an intense conversation. This lady has become a book author. Wonderful woman. So if you're into that, I want to put a little shout out here to Warrior Nation, Ian Patrick Gagnon, and I like Javier's comment too. So Javier, man, thanks for checking in, and let's get Javier's pro wrestling stories. Just leave that up there. I'm going to get some other comments on the screen. This is kind of a cool app, guys. So by all means, when you see me coming up here in your thread, please check in anytime and leave a comment, and I'll put it up there. If you don't want me to post it, then put private or something. This is all a work in progress. Here's one of the early comments from today. You know the deal. I hope you stick around. I'm not sure if you're a subscriber, you know the deal, but feel free to subscribe. I hope you do. And let's get back to what I was saying earlier, or just a minute ago. I got a couple of good comments here. Michael Roach, and then I got a couple from Ian. I think Christian or Matt Hardy could be good when they're ready. For what? A title run? Perhaps? I mean, perhaps. I don't know. I mean, I think Christian, they teased a match with Omega and Christian, and it never happened. And now Christian looks like he's going to do the Jungle Boy thing. Let's see what Ian says. I read an article that AEW is aiming to be the #1 wrestling company by the end of 2022. I believe Tony Khan is very serious about AEW. They keep establishing excellent business collaborations, with the latest being Upper Deck, which is the first time ever Upper Deck has ever done a wrestling collaboration. Money begots money, Ian Patrick Gagnon. I believe he's also the Gonzo Shark in other realms. And also, is they get Strowman and Wyatt and debut them at the same time. Excellent potential for some amazing storytelling with that. You got it, buddy. So, like I was saying earlier, Strowman, Wyatt, and Eric Rowan's still available. He's not doing anything. Put them into a faction, give them a new name, a new direction. I'd like to really see Wyndham Rotundo come in stripped down, meaning no theatrics. Like, just let him be himself for a while and then build with the theatrics and build with the crazy stuff. They just got Aleister Black. They don't really need another, or Mordecai Black. They don't need another gimmick guy heel right now. What they need is to really take their time. If they do get Wyndham Rotundo, it's a big if, but you know what? I think it's a done deal. I think the new thing is you see someone leave WWE, get that AEW is going to All Elite. You know what I mean? Get that meme ready, guys. Michael AJ Norris. Let's see his comment. He's always got some good stuff. Tony from AEW, don't hurt his talent. Look at John Moxley working 2 companies. Vince would never allow that with his I like Forbidden Door. It shows Tony loves his company and workers. They're all happy. I dig it, man. I dig it. All you guys are making really good points tonight. I'm going to see if there's any other comment I wanted to check in on. I got the dog to walk, folks. I just walked the dog for an hour, but now she wants to go out again. So any of you dog owners know what that's all about. She's getting kind of restless. This has been fun, guys. So we had this kind of emergency. Somebody did the sad face with the Facebook thing. It's a live podcast. You'll be seeing more of these from me on Subscribe to Mike Messier channel. We've got over 900 subscribers now. We're closing in on 1,000. Appreciate it. And I just purchased this app to give you live streaming with the comments. Michael AJ with the Yo Mikey. Craig Leathers is who I think I might be thinking of with that director of Nitro. And I think I'll leave the final word here to Patrick, man. Ian Patrick. That's all you got to say, man. And you know what? Here's the deal. Even if they don't take over the wrestling business, isn't it fun to see somebody give Vince a fucking run for his money? Junior and the Brats, as I like to say. All right, guys. Thanks so much. There's tons of stuff here. For those that haven't watched it yet, Disregard the Vampire Mike Messier documentary. Messier Mantra, one of the producers on that show, Kevin Vidinha. I always had trouble with Kevin's name. Kevin Vidinha, martial artist. Great guy. He helped with Oxbaker, one of the boys movies, big time stuff on that. Thanks everybody for watching. We had a fun time. And hey guys, have a good Saturday night. I think I'm going to go see that Stillwater. I saw The Rock's new movie, Dwayne Johnson, Disney Jungle Cruise, and I did a 40-minute reaction video. Check that out. It's old school Mike in the van, driving around, Mike in the automobile. Shout out to my buddy there, Jay Baca. I haven't talked to him in a while. And thanks, everybody, for checking it out. Subscribe to Mike Messier YouTube channel. We're streaming live. It's new. It's fun. And thanks for being here, everybody. Subscribe to Mike Messier YouTube channel. Happy Saturday night.